What's up Saab fans around the world, and welcome back to another video. So in today's video we will not be doing the work in my garage, but we will be going to my friend Gerhard and we will use his garage to change the clutch on the 2.8 V6 93 Aero. Since my garage is a little bit taken right now, so I have an upgraded clutch from Maptunparts, but this morning it started to snow, and it's snowing a lot actually. So I have been loading up some parts. We got the new clutch right here, we got some oils, new slave cylinder, a little bit of brake fluid. So I'm going to, this morning, like an hour ago, I did shovel away all of the snow, and this is what has landed on the car for like the last hour. I would say approximately like 5 centimeters additionally. But yeah, we will drive to Gerhard's garage and then we will start the work. So the roads right now are just awful. You could probably hear and see how awful this is. No maintenance of the roads whatsoever. It's just the traffic that has gone through the strong snow right now. The roads actually got a little bit better, so now we are not shaking as much. But still the traffic is moving really slow. So now I have arrived to Gerhard's garage from the bad winter weather that all of a sudden just came about. And here we have the car up on the lift. And here we have the man himself that is going to help out today. So first wheel off, we have been doing a little bit of cleaning of the floor because, as you might have known, we picked out all the snow from Nybro to Kalmar. But now it's getting a little bit dry at least, so we are just going to start working on the car, take off the wheels, lower it down and start working from the engine bay and down. And here we have a little bit of the parts. The 500 Nm clutch from Maptunparts, which comes as a kit. Then we have some new seals for the gearbox, Saab original. We have a new slave cylinder, and this is a Sachs OEM. Only OEM should be used for this kind of work, otherwise you have to redo the work. And then we got some fluids and some other stuff. I have some PowerFlex bushings as well, but I don't know if we will use them or not. We will see later on. We will just start working on the car and we will see how it goes. And this is how you work when you work with the pros. You have everything lined up very nicely. So the battery box is out, and now we're gonna pry off the wires for the gear selector. And these are always a little bit tricky, and you usually need to use some excessive violence. Like so. Got them off. So now I think we should undo this little cable right there and the hose for the slave cylinder. Ja, man ser att det...
De sitter där nere. Ska vi se här.
Like so. So it only sits with a like little circlip underneath that you need to pry down, then it's just to pull it out. So I will show you in a little bit, but we have removed basically everything in the top that needs to come off. Gerhard has been releasing the inner liner a little bit so we get access to the gearbox. And now we are going to start removing the subframe. I have added some support for the intercooler and the radiator in the front. And now we are going to battle these bolts that sit for the downpipe, and they look very, very crusty. So we will see how that goes. Precis.
Den hela pinbulten då. Ja.
Det är hela världen här.
Jo, det är så jävla farligt att fixa. Okej. Intressant om man kan markera den på något sätt. Det verkar så att jag har ju lossat lite.
Ja.
Tar de andra först då?
Ja. Det tar vi. Tänker jag och köra bara.
Jag var bara mutterknackan på.
Ja, precis. Så länge man inte kör med röstknacken så borde det gå för loss.
Ja.
Ja, fan, jag har gjort det så många gånger. Och alltid när jag jobbar på golvet så är det så här, ibland tappar man ju liksom orienteringen, vilket jävla håll ligger jag åt och vad gör jag liksom.
Ja, precis.
Så jag har legat med spärrskaft och skulle lossa en sån snabbfråga och drog av hela hylsan istället. För jag drog ju åt istället för att släppa.
Hylsan och inte bulten alltså, det är imponerande.
Ja, men fan. Liksom, det här är inte sant, den kan inte sitta så jävla hårt liksom.
Nej. Den här kändes bra.
Ja, det där lät inte alls som ett hjälp mig jag är av, utan det lät som att jag är lös.
Jaha. Jag tror inte att den här sitter lite snabbt.
Nej.
Det är rätt skit vet du.
Ja, det är det.
En skit under.
Det går så trögt hela vägen ut liksom. So here is what's left of the nuts on the downpipe. Really crusty, but Gerhard managed to get them off. It's right here. Working with the last one.
The power of some good spray.
So the downpipe is out, and now we are going to loosen the bolts for the steering rack. So I think the top one was an 18 millimeter and the bottom is a 15 or...
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we have lowered the subframe a bit also.
Yeah.
To gain access.
It's a long one.
That's what she said.
We have removed the bolts for the steering rack, and now what's left is the anti-roll bar. that are pretty easy to loosen when you have lowered the subframe quite a bit. And then it's just to pop off all the hoses that go along with the subframe, and then loosen the front subframe bolts, and then it should be able to drop down.
Also the ball joints need to be manhandled.
Yeah.
And the two, what do we call it, torque rods.
Yeah. So after a couple of hours, the gearbox is out. Really nice gearbox stand or transmission stand to take it out. So now we are going to change the slave to a brand new OEM one, change the seals, and we're also going to make a mod that's very common on the F40 gearbox. This gear tower usually gets a little bit stuck with this pin that goes through here, so a couple of gears could be hard to engage. So we are going to remove this and do the mod, then put everything together, and of course change the clutch while we are doing this work right here. So here is the old one. It's a little beaten up. We will see how it looks when we remove it. And the slave and bearing is really beaten up. Now we're going to change to brand new fresh stuff. The Maptun clutch right here. And the pressure plate is an OEM for the V6. And as I said in the beginning, the slave is a Sachs slave cylinder and brand new Saab original seals.
Kom igen.
Vill den inte?
Nej, inte så illa.
Nej, inte så tråkigt. Lite lätt glazad.
Ja, men det... Men det var mycket liv i de här grejerna. Det var det.
So when you install this clutch, you just need to follow the instructions. This side to the flywheel, and I have also glued on these distances that's needed to get the proper distance between the pressure plate and the clutch plate. So if you don't have them glued on, you have to be fiddling around to get them behind or between. And I have also cleaned off the flywheel a little bit with some Scotch-Brite and brake clean. And this flywheel looks really nice. You can still see like the small grooves in the surface. So this has probably been changed sometime. So now we will just throw this on and have it centered and then bolt it down. So now we have applied some Loctite on the bolts and torquing them down to 13 Newton meters of torque. Satisfying click. So new slave installed, feeling really fresh. Also the new seals on both sides. Nice. So now we removed the gear strut or the gear tower. Just undo these bolts, then lift it straight up. And we have it out on the bench right here. So I bought this kit a long time ago. It's from a company called X8R. This is not a collaboration. I bought it some while back, but it have not been installed. So what we are going to do is use this little drill bit and slowly drill out the top of this, then knock it down. Then there's a new sleeve on this right here that we are going to press in with the following bolt and nut. And then we are just going to attach this screw to hold it back together, and it should operate a lot smoother than it does right now. So the problem with my gearbox has been going from 4th to 6th gear has been just impossible. You have got to do like 4, 5, 6 in that order. Sometimes it has worked from 4th to 6th, but usually not. So here we have the old sleeve out and the inner sleeve, which is like a little plastic one. Now we got the hole wide open. So now we're going to use this tool that they supplied to press in this new sleeve, and then just attach it with the bolt and nut, and it should be done. Like so, and then I think we go like this.
Börja med den. Här inne. Bara trycka in och sen klicka upp. Luften som jag valde ett intressant ställe. Och bara göra sådär. Nice. Och sen så.
So I had these Powerflex bushings laying around at home. These are the diesel ones that are a little bit softer. So I think I'm going to try to install them into the front engine mount. You can see they just pop in. Makes it a little bit more solid when shifting gears. So we will try this and see how it goes, and I have for the rear as well, but we will wait with this one a little bit. So now everything is back together, and now it's time to bleed the slave cylinder or bleed the clutch. And by far the easiest way is to push some brake fluid through the bleeder valve and just watch the reservoir, how it fills up. So you push the air out the other way. It is just going to take a couple of pumps until you see like bubbles in the reservoir and you see the level increase. It's like no high pressure required. So fast forward a little bit. Don't have to show like each and every step. We showed a lot when disassembling everything, but now everything is back together. As I said before, bleeding the clutch with just pushing through the fluid through the bleeding valve is the best method ever. So easy, and now everything seems to work when we push the pedal, and it feels nice, and the shifter also feels nice with that little fix. So big thanks to these guys right here, taking a little rest, well deserved. So now it's just the like 13-minute drive home, and we should check out the weather. It's really interesting to say the least. Getting really cold and a lot of snow. So we will see. But the most important thing right now is not to just hammer the clutch. The clutch is going to need a break-in period. So it's between 500 kilometers and 1,000 kilometers, just to be safe. So just normal, regular driving without any hefty pulls. So now we will drive home and we will end this episode off in the garage. So first impressions with just driving off. The clutch feels so good. I can highly recommend this Maptun clutch. I have driven with a similar setup, like a stock aero pressure plate and a sintered 6-puck or 6-pad clutch from a different company, and it's just terrible. It's hard to get off. And this clutch right here, it feels basically just like a stock clutch. There is like, you have a momentum when you are going away, so you don't need to like push the throttle a lot to get off like you would with like a normal sintered clutch. And this is without any springs. This is a solid 6-puck clutch, but it feels really good. So if I were you, I would be on the lookout for next Friday the 25th. It's also called Black Friday, so I would head to Maptunparts.com and check out their assortment of products. And yeah, I will do some real pulls later on, but as of right now we just need to break in the clutch. As I said before, about 50 to 100 Swedish miles is required to break in the clutch, but right off the bat, just driving it out from the garage feels phenomenal, really good. And I'm not just saying this just because, it really is fantastic feeling in the clutch. So this clutch right here should withstand at least 500 Newton meters of torque, which will be plenty. So I even think it will withstand a little bit more, but just feels awesome. And I put in the PowerFlex bushings in just the front engine mount, and that also feels quite okay. I have done it before with regular PowerFlex bushings, and the result has gotten terrible. Just a lot of vibrations because the mount gets a little bit more solid, but this works fantastic. I can feel a little bit of vibration in the chassis and the pedal, but it definitely isn't terrible. And now it's like keeping the engine still when you're shifting. So, and the shifter also feels really nice after the little fix with the gear tower. So I highly recommend you to do that as well if you have problem with changing gear in your F40 manual gearbox. So now just a still solid drive home, and then we will wrap this up. So that's it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, please leave a comment down below. Please subscribe to the channel, it means a lot to me. And I will see you in the next one. Bye!